Hey gang, Trevor from Bookmanager here with another getting started quick tip. And this one's about your scanner. Now, scanners are very important to having an efficient operation, to quickly receiving books, to quickly checking customers out. So if you don't have a scanner or think you can live without it, I'd say it's well worth the $80, $100, whatever it ends up being to buy a scanner. You don't need anything fancy like a Bluetooth scanner, just a USB, Honeywell brand or Symbol, Zebra, whatever you can get your hands on. We have a recommended list of models that are easy to program and get ready for use with Bookmanager, but essentially it'll be well worth its price tag and it will pay for itself in short order instead of having to manually type in ISBNs into your system. So one thing that comes up though is whether or not your scanner is programmed right for Bookmanager, because out of the box, the scanner won't be ready to go with Bookmanager, or more so, it won't be as efficient as it can be. So essentially a scanner in a nutshell is like a keyboard. That's how your computer sees scanner inputs. It thinks that it is a keyboard typing something into the system just really, really fast. We want to make sure it's programmed correctly because Bookmanager is a hotkey based system. For example, if we were to say scan something right here, right in the main options menu, say a book, without programming your scanner, Bookmanager will think it's a keyboard input, or the computer, Windows will think it's a keyboard input, and most books start with 978. So it's going to think you're going to want to go to 9, which is receiving, and then it's going to fill in the rest of the ISBN in the supplier field. That's not what you wanted to do. You wanted to say, look up a book or scan something. So getting your scanner properly programmed will tell Bookmanager with a preamble character that this is not you typing something. This is an input from a scanner, and therefore we should look it up, or it's a product basically. So it's got some special efficiencies in the point of sale and other areas of the system, like receiving, where if you have a scanner that is programmed correctly, it will make your life a lot easier. So the way to check this, you could just scan something in the main options menu, and if you scan a book and nothing happens, it's probably programmed right. But if it jumps into receiving, then you probably need to program it. Better way to check this is actually by opening up Notepad. So Notepad is a super handy program I use all the time. It's just a very basic text editor. You could also use Microsoft Word. Google Docs will work as well. Opening up an email, like you're writing an email to someone. Anywhere where you can input text essentially is where we can test this. But I'm going to use Notepad because that's my jam. So if you don't know where Notepad is, you can always do a Windows key S for search, and then you can type in the word Notepad, and it's just a default program that comes loaded with all versions of Windows. You'll also find it buried within. If you actually open up your Windows area here, you'll find it buried way down, I think, in Windows Accessories. Yeah, it's under the Windows Accessories Notepad. Way faster just to hit the Windows key and then the S key together. So Windows key S, and then type in the word Notepad and bring it up. And I've actually pinned Notepad to my taskbar because I use it so often. I just like to have quick access to it. You can't see my taskbar right now. I've got a pretty tall monitor. It's a little taller than the average monitor, so that part of my screen is cut off, but it's down here. Anyway, with Notepad opened up, this is where you can then take a book and scan it with your scanner and see what happens. So if you scan something and it pops up like this, then your scanner is not programmed. Basically, if we see just the ISBN and then it starts on a new line, your scanner is so close, but it's not quite there ready for Bookmanager, because what we want to do is have a preamble character added to the beginning of the ISBN. And Bookmanager's preference is a tilde symbol. So tilde symbol is that little squiggle. You can usually find it on your keyboard to the left of your 1 key, not in the number pad, but in the kind of the top horizontal numbers. And you usually have to get at it by holding down Shift and pressing that kind of back tick. So to toggle from the back tick to the tilde, you'll get this little squiggle. That's our preference, just because it's not a very common character used at all in any sort of data or any sort of data entry in the program itself. So it's a safe one to use or mark as like a scan input. We've also seen people use, say, backslashes or forward slashes or other kind of non-standard characters. But if we can, we're going to try to program it with the tilde. So if your scanner isn't doing this tilde thing, then you'll want to contact us, because we likely have a scan sheet. If you're using a Honeywell scanner, a Metrologic scanner, a symbol, a zebra, we will likely have a programming sheet where we basically just get you to print off a piece of paper with 7 or 9 barcodes on it. You scan them sequentially and your scanner gets programmed. If you have an off-brand scanner, like one that is not on our list, say it's a Dowtronics or some sort of Amazon, super special, like, oh, it was a $30 scanner, great, but you may have to then leaf through the programming manual to figure out how to add a preamble or prefix character. So usually called preamble or prefix, but either way you want to add a character and hopefully you can add that tilde symbol. So we can give you advice on programming your scanner if you don't have one of our recommended brands. Otherwise, we'll provide you something that you can just basically scan, it'll program it, and then the next time you do a test in Notepad and scan something, it'll come out with this little tilde and start at the new line, and it will be ready to go in Bookmanager. You can also download our scan sheets from our help center. So you can check out our help center. We do have a downloads area which should have the most common programming scanner programming sheets available for download in PDF form. You need to scan these barcodes from a piece of paper. You can't scan them off your screen unless you have like a super high resolution, like a 4K display, like OLED screen. Then it may work, but otherwise you got to print it off on a piece of paper. Hopefully you find that helpful, and until next time.